I love weird plants. As far as I'm concerned, the weirder, the more grotesque, the better. And I'm sure you agree with me too. That's why you're here. But the problem is a lot of these bizarre succulents aren't necessarily well suited to cultivation. One mistake and you can end up with a lot of dead plant and a lot of wasted money. So today I thought I'd take a different approach. Today we're going to be looking at some of those succulent plants that, well, they're still absolutely grotesque and very unique in their own way, but they'll withstand a lot of mistakes, they'll withstand a lot of stress, and realistically, they're a great place to start if you're just taking your first steps into this wonderful journey into the bizarre and alien world of succulents and caudiciform plants. So, join me now as we look at some fantastic plants for beginners. Let's start by looking at an alternative to lithops. I have got no idea why, but lithops have been billed as a great beginner succulent, when nothing could be further from the truth. They have very particular watering needs, they follow a very particular annual cycle, and if you muck it up, they die really easily. So, let me introduce you to Lapidaria margaretae. Now, Lapidaria margaretae is very closely related to the lithops, and you can see they have that same kind of living stone style. They live in the quartz fields of South Africa, hence my staging here amongst all these quartz stones. And, well, as far as I'm concerned, their form is superior because unlike lithops, where you get two leaves and eventually they might branch off, here you get these stacked, beautiful geometric leaves that help them blend into the quartz. Now, why are these plants so much better suited for beginners? Because they don't have those really particular watering needs. They're what we call opportunistic. They grow when they receive water. They don't get waterlogged and kick up a stink and die like your lithops. They'll just soak it up. Now, if you give them too much water, the leaves can split. But that's not necessarily a problem because they will heal. And they also show you when they need water. The leaves start to wrinkle a little bit. You give them a sip, they fatten up again, and off you go. And the other wonderful thing is they have the most delightful yellow flowers. Now, I grew this one here. This was one of the very first succulents I ever grew from seed. I had no idea what I was doing, and somehow over all these years it stayed with me, which says to me that even if my beginner self could get it this long, so too can anyone. So, Lapidaria margaretae, beautiful, absolutely stunning, and, in my opinion, far superior beginner plant compared to your very finicky lithops. Give them a try. Now, the next plant I'm going to share with you, not particularly uncommon to cultivation, but no less incredible. This is Haworthiopsis Kakata, a fantastic hard-leafed cousin of the Haworthias. And the joyful thing about this is it's almost impossible to kill. I bought this particular plant at IKEA many years ago. Stuck it in a pot, it had one head, and promptly proceeded to ignore and neglect it for about 4 years. And all it's done since then is thrive. Now, the thing about Haworthiopsis, and indeed Haworthias themselves, is they don't really need a lot of sun. They generally prefer a part shade position. But if you don't give it to them, they don't really seem to care. I stuck this one out in full sun a couple of weeks ago with a sense of curiosity. How would it react? And here's the thing. It turns this wonderful stressy red colour. Really brings out the tight, beautiful kind of, I don't know, uniqueness of this plant. Didn't hurt it though. This plant is going to thrive. I've put it back in a more shady position now and just continues to grow. As far as cultivation needs go, beside the part shade, or if you prefer more sun, whatever you like, they just need a real gritty, draining mix, bit of water every now and then whenever you feel like it. Normally this is a winter growing plant, but I water it year round and it just keeps on going. So, you know, your mileage may vary, but as far as I'm concerned, Haworthiopsis Kakata and its cousins Haworthiopsis attenuata, or really any of the Haworthias, fantastic beginner plants because they just seem to want to live and live and live, no matter how much you abuse them. They look pretty amazing too. How about those white speckles, hey? Absolutely amazing. So, if you want something that'll look pretty amazing without giving it any care whatsoever, give this guy a go. Easy to find too, like I said, IKEA. Magnificent. Now I'm going to get to some real weirdos in a second, but before I do, another plant that is almost impossible to kill and quite easy to find. This is another South African plant, Crassula ovata. In this case, the cultivar Hummels Gold, so named because the leaves turn this wonderful yellow colour when exposed to full sun. But whether it's this cultivar or the more common form or the one with the monstrous weird mutant leaves called golem, doesn't matter. They're all almost impossible to kill. Well before I knew anything about plants, I was gifted one, just a little stick about this big, chucked it into the pot, and these days, despite years of having no particular knowledge of this plant, it's grown into this quite impressive bush, too big for me to bring it down here and share it with you now. Never fertilized it. It only gets a bit of rain that comes in sideways on the balcony. Doesn't care, thrives, fantastic, absolutely unkillable. However, if somehow your plant does start to look a bit poorly, it's also so easy to cultivate. All you got to do, pick an appropriate branch. Let's take this one here, snip, and hang on. All right, that's bounced somewhere. And I can't exactly see where it is. So I'll be back in a second with a branch and I'll show you just how easy it is to cultivate this particular plant. So apparently that cutting got swallowed up by the void somewhere, disappeared into the dark abyss of the floor of my greenhouse. I'll probably find it in 5 years' time when it's growing up as a sizable bush out from under one of the benches. But anyway, I took another cutting. Let's work with this one here. You get your cutting, get your pot with soil. Doesn't really care what soil it is. Stick that in there like that. Give it a bit of water every now and then. Off you go. That's going to grow into a brand new plant. Super easy. So if your plant starts to die, chop it to pieces and you'll end up having 10, 20, 30 more of them. Turn yourself into a Crassula ovata farmer if you want to. Fantastic. What could be easier? Absolutely nothing. Now, let's look at some of the real weird stuff. You know, if you want to venture into the path of weird alien monstrosities, well, stick around. We've looked at some plants that are relatively easy to find in cultivation if you know where to look, but now I want to start getting into those real odd plants, those wacky and bizarre plants that really drive my passion. And so I'm going to share with you this fascinating cordiciform plant. This is a species of Kedrostis. I'm not exactly sure which one because I haven't had it for that long, but essentially Kedrostis are plants from the Cucurbitaceae family, that is the cucumber family. This is related to your cucumbers, your watermelons and the like, and as you can see, its growth form includes this fantastic fat tuberous base, and when it's in growth in the warmer months, it sends up this big long tendrily vine. Absolutely amazing, and as you can agree, quite odd. Now why do I say this is an easy plant? Well, all we need to do is turn it around for a bit of evidence. Look at that. At some point in this plant's life, it suffered, well, a pretty serious injury. Could have been sunburn, could have been rot. Clearly didn't faze it too much. It's just scarred over, turned that into some fairly sensational cavity, and on it goes. Absolutely stunning. Now the thing about these plants, they grow these amazing vines. They can grow quite long, and then in the winter months that vine dies back. Also well worth noting that they get quite sensational fruits if the flowers end up pollinating. Quite a strange, rare, and I'm sure you agree, quite interesting plant. You can find these if you know where to look as well. They're not all that uncommon, but I'm sure a fascinating addition for any beginner, and certainly a statement plant that'll have people asking you, what the hell is that thing? Now, I've shared with you some truly delightful plants from South Africa that are absolutely ideal for any beginner succulent grower looking for the weird and the wonderful. But if we want to get absolutely bizarre, turn the scale up to 11, we've got to move away from South Africa and head into the east, into countries like Ethiopia and Somalia, which is where we find the genus Dorstenia. This here is Dorstenia Fatita. Now, this by far is the most common species of Dorstenia available in cultivation today, and it's an absolute wonderful plant. They grow almost like a miniature palm grove with these multiple heads coming up with these little sprays of leaves. This was my first foray ever into cordiciform plants, and I absolutely love it. Now, Dorstenias really, they thrive in a partial sun, partial shade position, and if you can give them that, well, everything else is easy. The thing about these is that they flower profusely, and perhaps good, perhaps bad, they self-seed. I'll show you a flower. Here's a little one. This plant is only about, maybe 1 year old, and you can see that absolutely alien flower right there. Now, they self-pollinate, don't need to do anything to get that to start setting seed whatsoever, and then it ejects the seeds with explosive force. And what you'll find is that there'll be little baby Dorstenias popping up all over the place. They'll come up in your pots, they'll come up in the floor of your greenhouse here. I'll show you one in a sec. They just reproduce prolifically. And, well, like I said, that could be good or that could be bad, but it certainly means that you'll never be wanting for Dorstenias again. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing, because how fantastic is this plant? Now, if we're going Dorstenia hunting, I'm sure if I looked hard enough, I could find some in some pots. However, I know I have a tiny little juvenile one down here at the base of the bench. You can see it here. It hasn't come out of its winter dormancy yet. A little bit stretched for light, but clearly at some point a seed's just dropped down there, and away we go. Dorstenia Fatita. Life finds a way. So, there are 5 plants to get you started on your succulent journey. If you've got any questions or you've got any other suggestions, because there are plenty more that I'm sure that I've neglected, leave a comment. If you want to, you can subscribe, or, just get out there and grow some absolutely wonderful plants. That's it from me today. Happy growing. I'll see you next time.